What a great result! We won 5-0. Well,
we're not brought to you by MoveMyPension.ca, but how can I not put that? What a great result. We won 5-0 into the video, hey? How's it going, everybody? Tim here once again. A view from the South Stands. I'm coming to you on Sunday morning after Toronto FC's most emphatic home victory in the league, well, ever. A 5-0 thrubbing of Orlando City FC yesterday, putting pay to any hopes that they have to make the playoffs, and basically, as I stated in my piece that I wrote earlier this week, putting it down to 4, maybe 5 teams with the chance to get into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, other than New York and DC, which I think are already in, guaranteed. So you've got Toronto, Columbus, New England, New York City FC on the outside looking in, and Montreal. And more about Montreal in a minute as well. Now, let's not get carried away. Sorry, there's an airplane going over. Yes, it was Orlando. Yes, it was 3 wins against an expansion side this year. Yes, it was against 10 men for most of the game and 9 men for the last little bit of the game. Yes, it was 11-1 over 3 games that Toronto FC has played against Orlando this year. But still, it was 5-0. And the nil part of the 5-0, I think, was just as important as the 5. And I'll get to that in a minute. But a couple of things I just want to quickly touch on statistically before I get into the meat of what I want to talk about today. Toronto FC is now 3rd overall in scoring. We're only 2 off the LA Galaxy and 1 behind Columbus. TFC is currently sitting on 42 goals scored, which is tremendous. If they can find some renewed solidity at the back, that goal threat alone is going to give them opportunities against anybody, home or away. Michael Bradley, who I thought was absolutely awful in New York last week, had a really excellent game. He opened the floodgates with a very nice slaloming sort of a run right at the beginning of the second half. I had to see it on highlights because I was still getting a beer, but he set up the first goal, ended up with 3 assists on the day, and his imperious sort of job in the midfield, I think, personally leads to me making him my man of the match. Giovinco, what haven't I said about Sebastian Giovinco in this space that I can say again? The only thing I think I can say is in my years of watching football live here in Toronto, I don't think I've ever seen a better free kick live than that one I saw absolutely yesterday. If that doesn't win MLS Goal of the Week and be up there for MLS Goal of the Year candidate, I don't know what would be. The Reds had a 65% possession stat yesterday, which again was really, really strong. A 90% pass completion statistic. One of the goals, I think it was the 4th goal, or the 3rd goal, the Morrow goal, came on the back of, I think, 22 or 23 successful passes all in a row. I don't think I've ever heard Toronto FC fans at BMO Field do the olays, olays, olays after completed passes, which I actually heard at a couple of points late in the second half yesterday. But yesterday, more than anything, was about the jitters, and that's what I really want to get into today. Let's throw things on their head for a moment and say that Toronto FC lost the game yesterday. What will we be talking about today? We'd be talking about a team that had lost 3 in a row. We'd be talking about a team that would be facing a resurgent Montreal Impact. They weren't resurgent yesterday. They lost 1-0, and Drogba came on late and didn't do anything, but more about that later. But overall, they've been coming on pretty well lately. Then, of course, a really tough away game in Seattle. Toronto FC, if they hadn't have done the business yesterday, could have been looking at a full-on crisis. It could have been looking at a managerial change. You know how well that managerial change worked out for TFC late last year when Ryan Nelson left and Greg Vanney came in and took us out of whatever playoff hopes we had. yesterday was about curing those jitters, and the jitters existed, and now there's been a renewed sort of confidence boost based on that outstanding result. Now, it's also about killing off an opponent yesterday as well, and when I say killing off an opponent, I'm talking about whatever outside chance Orlando had to make the playoffs. If you take a look at the MLS standings today, you'll see New York City FC, they're on the outside looking in. Montreal is ahead of them with games in hand. Orlando, Chicago, and Philly. And none of those teams, I don't think right now, with the very small exception of New York City FC, have an opportunity to make the playoffs. So by putting the sword to Orlando yesterday, and that's twice now they've come here this month and we've beaten them, and we beat them away as well, 11-1 on aggregate. They're done for the season. That's one less thing that the Reds need to worry about, and that was important. Only New York City FC, who's playing today, I think in LA, today being Sunday, has a small chance of getting into the playoffs. But basically, it's down right now to which of the Red Bulls in DC is going to be first or second. I don't think any of the teams below them are going to touch those two. If it is going to be anybody, it's probably going to be New England. Then it's going to be between New England, us here in Toronto, the Columbus Crew, and the Montreal Impact to decide who finishes third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. The home playoff date is what this team needs. So they need to finish third or fourth to get that, to guarantee that game. If you finish fifth or sixth, you have a one road game, playoff game to see if you qualify for a home and away. So if you finish fifth or sixth, you have no guarantee of having a home playoff game. And this franchise needs a home playoff game absolutely desperately. The other thing I want to quickly touch on before I start getting on with my Sunday morning and get back to the Premier League games that are on television right now is a quick note on Chris Konopka. I thought it was the right thing to do to sit Joe Bendik after what's been maybe 3, maybe 4 relatively poor performances on the hop. I don't think it's fair to say that Toronto FC lost the games that it lost coming into the game yesterday because of him, but I don't think he covered himself in any glory whatsoever. So I think it was the right decision to sit him. I don't think it's going to be fair to sit Chris Konopka for the Montreal game, considering that he only had 4 shots yesterday to deal with, only one of those on target, only 1, maybe 2 opportunities early on for Orlando. I remember one ball that Kakab put in over the top to young Kyle Larin. That Konopka was really quick coming off his line and smothering. Other than that, there wasn't really anything significant for the Reds' backline or the goalkeeper to worry about. But I think Joe Bendik sat for a reason. He sat for a reason because he's been poor in the last few games. And right now, Toronto FC, because there's no other players coming in over the horizon between now and the end of the season, because the window is closed, the transfer window is shut, what we got is what we got. They need to determine if Chris Konopka is going to be the goalie for the run-in or not. And yesterday wasn't enough. There wasn't enough evidence on display from Orlando to give him an opportunity to show that. Hopefully there won't be any from Montreal either, for that matter, because they play the Impact and that Drogba fellow next week at BMO Field. But until Konopka does something otherwise, or until Vanny has sent whatever message he's trying to send, Chris Konopka is the guy, and I hope to see him between the sticks next weekend at BMO. So that's it. What a great result. We won 5-0. Thanks very much for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful week, and I'll have another video blog up after the Montreal game, where I hope to be reporting on a 2-game winning streak and yelling at that Drogba guy next Sunday. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great week. Cheers.